Hey gamers, hope you're well, and the 308 error situation that a lot of us here have been facing for this past month or so, we're able to find a solution. We're all able to get back to this game that we love so much. But on a lighter note, we have a raid going on this week. It is the Kurgaloth boss that you'll find in the Lightfinger Estate. This little guy over here in red. And there's one build that will allow you to go to infinite rooms, and I'll show you that build that we can have right now. So it's with Calliope, Coriolis, Rika, and Vajra. The key people are really Rika and Vajra. Coriolis and Calliope are just there to kind of make it a little bit easier. So let's jump right in. Calliope, you'll want to either run her common boots or her epic boots. This will give damage boosts to one of your heroes. I like the common just because it's 75% chance, so you can get it going off a little bit more often. But if you don't mind missing a little bit more, you can use this, which will give you a bit of an attack boost as well. But I don't think the attack is as important because we're really just focusing on damage for this strategy. Doesn't really matter which healing, so healing's not going to really matter with this strategy, so you can use whatever you want here. I'm going to be using the Charming Loot. This is just going to be to dominate some of the enemies, just so in case we don't have a taunt up, they won't be able to attack us. Maybe if we're in range and we couldn't move in time. So this isn't required, but it's just a nice ability to help you. Weapon, we're not going to really be attacking much with her anyway, so it doesn't really matter what you're using. I'm going to be using the rapier as it can attack everybody if we ever do need a situation where we need to attack everybody, but it's not really required. Armor, use whatever you want. And this is important, so you're going to want to use the Ring of Battle. So when Coriolis gives Calliope Fortune, the Fortune isn't going to go for one of these passive abilities, which will allow her, when she moves, she's going to guarantee to give somebody this damage boost. Going on to Coriolis next. Her build really only revolves around giving Fortune and also the Sorcerer's Shard, which can reduce people's abilities and reset them back to being able to use them all. So I like to use her Epic Hair and then her Rare Belt. Those are only real two requirements that you really need to use with her. I'm going to be using her Epic Boots though. This will give random buffs to everybody on your team, so it's nice when you give Fortune to Rika because she'll be able to get some of her damage while moving off more consistently. But besides that, it doesn't make a difference. Weapon doesn't make a difference. Armor doesn't make a difference. And to increase the amount of times I'm getting her Epic Boots to move off, I'm going to be using her Centered Gear, which will give her Fortune. Moving on to Rika, this is the most important build, so you'll want to use the Claws of the Ancient Owlbear, which when she moves, she'll gain 100% damage boost for 3 turns. Going on the damage train, we're going to be using the Mark of the Enraged Snake, and this, when she taunts, she's going to gain a damage boost. This is the weapon that we're going to be attacking the boss with, the Wolf Skull. So it does 200% damage and has a 2-turn cooldown, so we can attack the boss every other turn with Rika. Very helpful. We're going to be one-shotting the boss with that, as you'll see. The weapon doesn't make a difference. I'm just using the highest one I have. The armor, the highest one I have. And for this item, there's generally 2 you want to use, so you're not going to want to use anything that has a passive ability. That has a % chance. So if Coriolis does give Rika Fortune, this would give her a chance to heal herself, but we don't want that. We want the Fortune to go off so when she moves, she's guaranteed to get her damage on the movement. So that's why I'm going to be using the Epic here, which is the highest one I have of the class. You could also use Death Ward if you have it too, but I'm just going to be using this one. And then finally, Vajra is the important, which makes this strategy actually work very well. For the movement, you're going to want to use the common, so she'll gain an extra action. And you also want to use Bigsby's Hand, and this will put a taunt out in front of the boss, so the boss will be forced to attack this, and everybody else on your team will be safe. It's a good delay strategy. And you're going to want to use her Leader's Cap, which was going to give damage boost to Rika. And in order to get this damage boost and Bigsby's Hands back quick, we're going to use her common Staff of Power, which 75% chance will reset all of her abilities, so we can use all these again, quick stacks. And then similar to thinking about our passive abilities, so when Kuragloth gives her Fortune, with the Epic, we don't want this to go off because we'll definitely want to use her other abilities. It's not going to really affect anything because she does have 100% movement ability, but I just like to have it. So even though her Staff of Power is 75% chance, with Fortune it's still 100, so it could give us the difference of getting the abilities back when we need it versus not. So that's why I'm going to go with the extra block here. So let's hop in and show you how this goes. I'm just going to show you the first couple rooms, as it gets very tedious as you go through, and then I'll explain one caveat of something that you'll have to look for, because Rika's stats will actually reset. So you may have a couple million, and then the next turn you actually attack, it goes back to 0. So that's something you're going to have to look out for as you're going. And that was a really good chest. I'm very happy with that. Lots of good items that I use in there. Awesome. And I'm very happy with that chest. Rare pack 2. Awesome. Alright, let's hop in. So the first room that you go in is very important. So this is where you're going to set it up for pretty much the rest of your run. Alright, so first you're going to want to taunt, give Rika some damage. So now her damage is at 3,000. Calliope, do whatever you want with her. Now this is going to be important because now we need to stall in order to get Rika enough time to get damage boost on. So now we can move forward, and this is where we use Bigsby's hand in front. It's just going to protect our team from taking damage. It's going to be there for 3 turns, which coincidentally is also the amount of turns if you get rid of these runes that Kurgaloth will respawn them. So on the 4th one, when he's doing more runes, Varaja will have enough turns in order to summon Bigsby's hand again in the front row, so now we're infinitely protected if we keep everybody else behind that front row. It's pretty sweet. Alright, Kuragloth is going to give everybody Fortune, move, and now with Rika having Fortune, when she moves, 100% chance to gain 100% damage. So now we're just going to move her back and forth a couple of turns in order to get her damage to stack. Vajra is going to attack to get her Bigsby's hand back, or I could also give Rika more damage. I think just for now, I'm just going to give Rika the damage. Bigsby's hand, nothing you're going to really do on these turns, it's just there as a place saver. Rika is going to keep boosting. So Rika is up to 18,000. You definitely want to keep the damage up to between 200,000 and 1 million. You don't want to go past 3 million, as sometimes Rika's stats will reset back to as if she doesn't have any boosts. So definitely keep it within that range, which is why I'm going to be checking the stats a lot as we go through. Alright, so this is a situation where Vajra didn't get her staff to go off, and she doesn't have Bigsby's hand, so Kuragloth can reset all of her abilities, so next turn she'll be able to use Bigsby's hand again. Rika is up to 36,000, so we want to get that up to about 100,000 before we start attacking the boss. Summon Bigsby's hand so we get more turns to do some boosts. Keep moving. Keep boosting Rika. Get rid of those runes. Keep boosting Rika. Alright, Rika should be pretty good next turn. Alright, 134,000. That should be sufficient for now. So now on Rika's turn, we can attack the boss. One-shot the boss, as you'll see. This is where we use that skull, one-shot the boss, ba-boom. Now, if you keep this strategy up, you can one-shot the boss infinitely, as long as you can keep Rika's damage between about 200,000 to 1 million. So that's ultimately your goal, to make sure her damage is keeping around there, and whenever her stats do reset back for whatever reason they do, just to make sure to kind of go through the same strategy that we did on the first room to get her damage back to that range. You never want Rika's damage to go into the max, because then you get into a glitch where you do so much damage, the boss is immune to the damage, and you technically do 0 damage to him. So this is why you gotta definitely monitor Rika's stats as you go through, because you don't want to get into that position. Alright, got about 100,000, that should be good enough. Take out the boss. We'll do one more room. But this is the main strategy that you'll go for the rest of the game. Alright, he's going to do his thing. So this is where you move forward. You put Bigsby's hand out front. Bigsby's hand just stays there, protects everybody else, so we can boost Rika. Does Rika have a fortune at all? Nope, and her damage is going down a little bit. So give her some damage. Reset. Get all the abilities back. Move Rika. Give everybody fortune, so Rika on the next turn is going to get a nice damage surge. She's down to 26,000 now. Give Rika some more damage. Ooh, she got some damage from Calliope there. So now we're going to boost that up to 100,000. Excellent. So next turn we can easily attack the boss. One-shot him. More damage. So it's in that sweet range that's about 200,000 to 1,000,000. So we can attack. Ba-boom. And that's the basic strategy. So then, as I said before, at some point, just keep looking at Rika's damage before you attack, because at some point, usually I found around like level 30, level 50, and around 75-ish, somewhere around there, Rika's stats will just randomly reset back to normal as if she has no boosts. So in that case, you just want to make sure that you can get it the setup appropriately, where you can give Rika enough time to get the damage boost to keep going the infinite amount of rooms. So I hope you guys enjoy, and hope this 308 error can get resolved soon, because it's really getting annoying. So developers, if you're out there, good luck. Keep us all posted. That's one of the biggest things that our community asks. Just keep everybody informed of what's going on, because we're all in the dark, and we're losing so many players day after day. So yeah, good luck.